Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's 2:01 p.m. on Wednesday, July 22nd. My name is Emery Alford. I'm chair of the board of directors for the Arts Council of Hillsborough County, and I hereby call the meeting to order. Martine, can you confirm we have a quorum?
We do. We've gotten two more people since I said we had, so we are more than over a quorum at this point. Sarah and Sandra have joined us as well.
Okay, let me change my screen. There we go. I now have a grid view, so good. Okay, so moving forward to opportunity for public comment. Anyone from the public?
I received no email public comments, which is how they come to, as of now, we have received none.
Okay. Then moving on, item 4 on the agenda is the consent agenda for the minutes and the June financials. Are there any questions about the consent agenda? Hearing none, then we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
I motion to approve.
Sounded like Julian moved. Who seconded?
Sandy.
Sandy. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, moving on to chair report. You should have as an attachment C, the timeline for advertising and filling open board seats. Current terms end September 30th for 5 positions. 2 are full-term positions being completed, Georgia and myself. Then we have Karen and Dontavius that are in fulfilling other positions that end September 30th. So Georgia, Farron, and Dontavius are eligible for a second term. And it's my understanding they've been notified of the process for reapplying. That deadline is September the 30th. And then we have one other vacancy that is unfilled at this time. It was the position held by Gabriel. Help me with this name, Mambulo.
Mabulo, yes.
Who resigned within the past year, and we did not fill his position because it was a short time left before his term would be up. My term is also up, and I've decided not to reapply for a second term. I've been on the board for 12 years of the last 14. I did the 2, I was off 2, I've come back, but I think it's time for others to help us move forward to the next stage. Hopefully by the time my term is up, we will have been approved, hopefully, fingers crossed, to become part of the county administration. So if Georgia, Theron and Dontavius wish to be approved or move forward, reapply, the governance committee is scheduled to meet on August the 11th, time to be announced. That meeting will be chaired by CJ Roberts. And at that time, they will review all the applications and then bring forward the names at the August board meeting for consideration and approval. Hopefully then for them to begin in October, but they will certainly be invited to the September board meeting as guests. So for sure, we have 2 positions that will require filling with 2 new people, myself and Gabriel's position. Any questions about the process? The timeline is there and pretty well all laid out.
Yes, sir. Emery, is that 2 or 3 positions that need to be?
Well, there are 5 positions, 3 currently held by board members who are eligible to a second term, and then 2 positions that are, one is currently vacant, and then my position will be vacant. So 2 positions for sure.
Okay. Sorry.
And so I would encourage you, if you know anyone out there that you think would make a good board member, direct them to the website and to fill out the application prior to the deadline. I guess what, September 30th is the deadline for all?
The deadline for applications is Monday, August the 3rd. But then the action will take place at the end of September. So these new board members will be effective October 1st.
But they will be considered August the 11th by the governance committee. Okay. Anything else, Julian?
No, that's fine. Sorry, I was just
Okay.
trying to reconcile the numbers. You know, I'm a numbers guy.
Okay, good. All right, then the other item on my report is the article that appeared in the Tampa Bay Times. I just want to call your attention to that. As we all know, it seems that always in times of budgetary crisis, the arts are among the first to be cut. I did notice on some of the lists that at least places like the Fire Cultural Center, Carrollwood Cultural Center, others are continuing with some funding from the state. Albeit not as much as you had hoped. And I'll add to that too, that the STRAS that I sit on their board also was significantly cut. They are still closed. They had planned to open their outside theater and their sip bar. But when the governor closed the bars again, well, they haven't opened yet, although the Patel Conservatory, it still is up and running some of its summer camps in person and online. So they are doing something there. But I just call your attention to the article. Hope you had a chance to read it. And I applaud the Arts Council staff for, I guess, contributing a great deal of the content and backup. Martine, you have any comments?
Well, it's encouraging. I want to commend Eileen because she worked with that reporter for the better part of a week, and we got her information from the Florida Cultural Alliance and a lot of good data that she didn't have. It's very confusing the way we fund in this state. So we were able to articulate that for her. But what's exciting to me is that we are the go-to place when a reporter wants information about the arts. And this has really happened over a period of 2 or 3 years. So it's great that they're calling us. And then Eileen did a bang-up job of getting them information. They obviously interviewed other people, but they started with us, and we were able to give them background and lead them to other people to interview. So I think that's very encouraging. I think we should all be encouraged by that.
And I think connected to that, if some of you who were on the board at the time remember the workshop we had about 2 years ago at the History Center, and one of the main things that came out of that was trying to establish ourselves as the hub. And certainly if reporters want to come to us first, I think that's a baby step in that direction of us becoming the focal point where people will reach out to for information or guidance on how and where and who to talk to about other aspects of the arts. So we have an update on the Arts Council becoming a part of the county administration. I'll turn that over to Julian.
Thank you, Emery. So there have been a number of meetings and conversations between Martine, Ron Barton, and Aileen. The county, it is my understanding that the county is working on developing a new ordinance to transform the council to a commission. Martine was asked to provide the staff job descriptions for all the staff, and that was done by July 1st. She received, Lindsay Kimball sent Aileen and Martine the HR department's finding regarding the classification and compensation for the current Arts Council staff, and we're within the range of the county's classifications. and they're working on seeing what next steps need to be taken to have this completed by October 1st. All in all, it's moving along happily. I haven't heard of any major issues or road bumps, speed bumps that, kind of brought the whole process to a grinding halt. I think the next step really is the new ordinance that needs to be developed. Have I missed anything, Martine?
I don't think so. Iceland's with us here today. Do you have anything you wanted to add, Iceland, about the ordinance process?
Yep, so I am drafting the ordinance and it should be done by this Friday, and then that's when I'll send it to Charlotte's office for review, and then I'll let you guys know from there. So it's pretty much done, wrapped up.
Hi, this is Charlotte. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to clarify that one of the required steps is that the BOCC must direct the county attorney's office to draft an ordinance. So anything that Iceland is currently drafting, eventually the BOCC has to receive direction or provide direction to our office to draft. Otherwise, we can't move forward.
Okay.
Commissioner Smith, could I ask you to, if we can get this on the next agenda?
And what we need is direction.
Yes,
Ms.
ma'am.
Diggs?
Yes, ma'am. Typically, typically a county department will place an item on the agenda, or you can, if you wish, at your own discretion, place an item on the agenda directing our office to draft an ordinance. But either way, yes, we do need to receive direction from the BOCC.
Okay, I'll tell you what, I'll work with Ms. Diggs on that and make sure that we do this, get this moving.
Thank you.
Is this something that we as a board need to make a motion to create the new ordinance?
No, this board can. I think that by virtue of the discussion that has been taking place over the past several meetings, and then there has been direction by this board to explore and potentially come back with a new ordinance, that should be sufficient. However, if this board does want to make a motion just to preserve the record and to make sure that everything is clear, it is possible to make a motion to explore drafting an ordinance. I believe that has already been done, though.
Right, that was last month.
Yeah, I would just need to confirm from the minutes. But in any event, I think that at this point, the most important portion is that the BOCC does need to provide direction to our office.
Okay.
I think, if I may, this is Julian. Charlotte, at the last board meeting, we voted to move forward with the integration of the council into the county. With the required, I'm going to use the word liberally, legal adjustments that needed to be made.
Yes. I do recall that occurred, and I will review the minutes just to confirm. But yes, I believe that would be sufficient for the case of this board. But typically, the protocol is that anytime a new ordinance, which could be applicable countywide, is to be enacted, the protocol is that the BOCC does need to provide direction to our office to draft that and come back on a public hearing and notice to the public in order to have that ordinance enacted.
Okay.
This is Sandy, and I have a question.
Go ahead, Sandy.
My question is, would it be advisable for this board to look at or review the proposed ordinances? It's going to be structured as an ordinance and go to the BOCC. Be advisable for us to look at that and review it before it goes formally to the BOCC and for
Absolutely.
future
Yes,
steps?
yes, Sandra. You can absolutely, this board can certainly review the ordinance prior to the BOCC directing our office to formally draft. So it is a formality. It is something that apparently Aislinn mentioned that she did begin to draft something, but formally our office does have to be directed. But in this instance, since we are in the drafting phase, yes, this board can absolutely review a draft for comments and for any other issues prior to the BOCC directing our office to draft and bring an ordinance back.
I'm thinking that that might be advisable to do.
I think that's
Yes,
a
and
good,
that would be at the board's pleasure, yes.
I think that's a good point. I'm just concerned about one thing that Charlotte mentioned is once the BOCC has directed her office to draft the ordinance and the ordinance has been drafted, did I understand correctly that there needs to be a public hearing?
That's correct. This is the required statutory protocol with respect to drafting and enacting an ordinance. There is a public hearing component. So it will go on typically there are either 2 or 3 meetings where the process occurs. The first meeting would be where the board directs the county attorney's office to return with an ordinance. The second meeting would be to set the public hearing date, and then the third meeting would be the public hearing.
And then there would be a 4th meeting for the adoption by the BOCC.
No, there are only 3 meetings. The
Okay.
public hearing is when the adoption would or would not occur, depending on the final vote.
Okay.
Commissioner Smith, you had your hand raised. Yes.
Thank you. And so I was going to kind of go through that process, but Ms. Diggs did that very well. I will need like a little bit of backup to ask the board for this direction. So, and so that when they get their agenda, they have something in the backup that indicates that this board has, is asking that we become a part of the county, and that we've worked with staff, you know, to make sure everybody knows I'm not just bringing something out of left field that isn't that they wouldn't be comfortable with. And so I'll have to work. It would be helpful if it might be helpful if we did have a letter from this board or some indication that this is what the Arts Council is hoping to do, and that we've worked with county staff and are ready to do this. And then I'll work with Ms. Diggs also to draft the language for the agenda item in their backup, so that everybody on the board a week or so ahead of the meeting will have seen this is on the agenda. Here's something they can read about it. It's, you know, kind of a normal thing for just this very next step of directing the county attorneys to draft an ordinance to come back.
Yes, ma'am. That would be the appropriate protocol. And in this,
Yeah, excuse me, but it would also be helpful and, yeah, it would probably be helpful to have a letter maybe from Emery in support, representing this council and then possibly, well, that would probably be enough. Something like that to indicate support of this council.
And the board minutes?
Possibly, and then and maybe a letter also from Martine, and just short and sweet, indicating that this is the, you know, that this is the will of the board, and we've been working with county staff, and we're ready to move forward with this.
If I may, I don't know if Lindsay is on the line. Is she in the meeting today currently?
I don't see her.
Oh, okay. We'll probably need to get in touch with Lindsay Kimball. The most appropriate county staff department for this to be initiated within would be economic development. So we can certainly address all of your concerns, Commissioner, if we initiate it in that manner.
Okay. I don't have a problem writing a letter. I'm looking at the minutes, today's packet at last month's meeting. Santiago made the motion and seconded by Julian and unanimously approved that we implement option 3 in the reconfiguration of the Arts Council. So if you just need me to write a letter that as we wish to move forward with that, that's easy enough. So then to kind of put everything under the umbrella, I guess I'm trying to make sure I understand what Iceland's role is right now in drafting an ordinance. It's a draft is that appropriate for us to draft something to propose to county attorney, or how I don't want her to do what she doesn't have to do.
Well, technically it is a legal function. So the ordinance drafting technically would be accomplished by our office, but I'm certainly open to staff, you know, placing an input or, you know, creating an initial draft for which indicates, you know, how they wish to go forward.
Okay, so Martine, it sounds to me like maybe you need to have a conversation with Lindsay.
Okay.
And then Iceland, do I understand you work under Lindsay or not? No, you don't, right?
Yes, I do. Lindsay is, I report to Lindsay and I'm in economic development.
So we're not stepping on toes, but we can make sure we're doing this channel-wise properly.
Yes.
And then between Martine and Lindsay, we can get guidance as to how Iceland should proceed. I think, you know, we maybe need to educate the board a little bit, Martine, as to why we need a new ordinance. That we have looked at some other examples, like from Miami-Dade, but the uniqueness of the Arts Council of Hillsborough County, I think, is what's setting us on the path that we need a new ordinance. Correct, Martine?
Yes, but we have looked at some other similar ordinances and provided that to, you know, just as background for economic development and looking at this in Miami-Dade County. And then we have an example here in Hillsborough County, the Cultural Assets Commission, which functions, so there's several good things that the county attorney's office can look at that have been done very similarly, and we would fall into the sort of the same category with an advisory board that they do.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think we need a motion to do this. We made the motion to move forward with the reconfiguration. So this sounds like this is an administrative detail that just needs to be worked out as to process. And then at a point in time, when we're ready to move forward to the county attorney's office through Commissioner Smith, I can write the letter that's needed.
I don't think we need another vote because of the vote that was held last month. I think that excuses things, but we've got that in the minutes. And why don't I talk to Lindsay and find out from her the next steps?
I agree. Okay, any other comments or questions about the process? We're on the way. We're getting into the weeds a little bit, but that's part of the exercise. Okay, thank you very much, Julian, Martine, Iceland, Eileen, everyone. Thank you, Charlotte. Okay, I guess Executive Director's report then, item 7.
Okay. Well, I included in your board packet a matrix of grant panelists that we are looking at for this year, and also a bio. I'm very pleased with the level of diversity that we are seeing. This is the first time we've had panelists in their 20s, which is very exciting. We have a broad range of skill sets. We have Hispanic, we have African American, we have Asian, and then you read their bios, they are all just so accomplished. We do have a larger panel this year because of delaying the cultural development grant because of the pandemic. The panelists will be doing both cultural development and community arts impact, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. We think it's a really, really good, diverse group. We've been moving towards more diversity in our panel process over the last 3 years, and I couldn't be more pleased with. I have to be because I'm sitting at home. It was a really, really excellent group, and I hope you all had a chance to look at their bios and see the breadth of experience that is coming to that. And that panel meeting will be on Wednesday, August 19th. Again, cultural development in the morning from 9:30 till noon, a break for lunch, and then community arts impact starting at 1. The other thing I included in the packet was just an update on the reimbursements for the various grants. We have been extremely proactive. We can't make everybody submit a reimbursement, but we've been pushing. We accelerated the reimbursement deadlines, and I feel like we're tracking very well for this close to the end of the year. But so we are. I thought you would take comfort in saying that it doesn't look like we're going to have people that don't submit for reimbursement, and we're continuing to monitor that very closely. I didn't put it on the agenda, but tomorrow we are having our workshop for individual artists for selling their work and everything. This was originally supposed to be in April, and it was a live workshop. So we have regrouped and we'll be doing it remotely, but the timing couldn't be better for helping artists in selling their work and having a better web presence. And we've got a good response to that. So I just want to mention that that's going on tomorrow as well. Any questions about the panelists or the reimbursements or anything else?
Martine, I just have a question. I was wondering about, can you tell me what's the date, or has it already passed, for the 2020 and 2021 Community Arts Impact Grant? Because you said the panel's meeting on the 19th of August?
So the deadline was last Friday.
Okay.
It's under staff review right now, and the applications will go to the panelists this Friday,
Okay.
which gives them 3 weeks to review. Now, that's just for the organizational grants. We do have panelists that have made application for individual artist grants, and that's a little further a couple of months away. So those panelists have not been selected yet, and that application process is a little later. This is the organizational grants.
All right, thank you.
Anything else?
Okay, then if I could for just a moment, I see a name on the grid here. If I may ask, who is Tyler Adams?
He's with County Communications, Emory. I
Okay.
think Sandy's trying to ask the question.
Who? Oh, Sandy, yes.
Yeah, sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Okay,
I don't have the materials in front of me right now, Martine, but so I might not be recalling correctly from the other day. But on the folks who received the grants for this year, it sounded like you said that they were all able to make the kinds of adjustments or modifications so that they would be able to submit for reimbursement and be reimbursed. Is that correct?
We have been working very closely with the organizations and the individual artists in light of the pandemic to make modifications. For example, if it was a live performance, to make it a videotape performance, or in the case of the individual artists, if they were trying to go to a workshop in Oregon, we've allowed them to buy equipment instead, just because of things. So so at this point, we're tracking very well on that. We're continuing to monitor. We're also helping them if we have to make change requests in the grant that affect their budget or whatever, we're making sure that that happens so that they don't lose any ground and they can collect their reimbursement. We won't know if this works for absolutely everyone until we get to at the end of the grant process. But based on the data that I included in the packet, we're tracking very well to be on track as much as even a normal year as far as where we are.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I had understood that correctly.
Yes, we've been very proactive reaching out because a lot of these things that were in the grant application just couldn't happen. And frankly, this the panel meeting with the applications for this year, we have advised the applicants to give us your best guess about what your season is going to look like. But we're also telling them we won't hold it to it. If it's impossible, we will work with you again to make change requests, because this was a very difficult year to write a grant application and tell someone what you're doing, because none of us know what we're doing. I had the same problem writing our state grant. It's very difficult, but we've assured all the applicants, and we did during the grant application workshop, that just give us your best guess about what your year will look like, and then we'll work with you going forward, which is the best anyone can do at this point. We've actually gotten a lot of good feedback from our organizations and especially our individual artists about being so willing to be flexible with them and suggest things to them so that they don't end up losing all of their money. Why don't you think about getting equipment instead of your workshop? Oh, I didn't know I could do that. Yes, you can. And we've gotten very good feedback from that.
okay. And I'll put in one more plug. Thanks to especially Kelly helping us get going with the bill pay software in those instances where that there is a second authority required to sign off on certain dollar amounts. I get an email. I'm usually able to turn that around within 24 hours without having to leave my house, or I can do it at 10 o'clock at night if I want to, but we're able to expedite the process of reimbursement thanks to the bill pay software program. Okay.
And because of the bill.com, we have the capability that if organizations sign up for it, we can drop it directly in their bank account so they don't have to wait for a check to arrive. And, you know, with the timing and the scarcity this year, there could not have been a better time to have that capability. So yes, Kelly and CLA have gotten us completely automated, which is wonderful.
Good. Anything else, Martine?
Not from me.
Okay, item 8, other business. Georgia, you have anything to report?
I don't believe she is here. I'm sorry. She is.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank you. Yes, the next Public Art Committee meeting will be held on August the 11th. And there is probably going to be a public art article coming out in the Tampa Bay Times. It was interesting. They were contacted by one of the county commissioners, and I haven't seen the final. He hasn't given me an edit or anything, but they will be focusing on public art in Hillsborough County.
Excellent, excellent. Paul, anything about happenings at the Cultural Center? You're muted. There you are.
We're just trying to figure everything out, just like everybody else, trying to plan a season without patrons.
Yeah. You have a summer camp going?
We have about 8 kids in, and that's our summer camp this year. In previous years, we've put through anywhere from 60 to 70 kids a week. Now we're doing 8 to 10.
Wow.
I feel the pain.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, anyone else? Any other business?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention at Mosey, we've just opened a new exhibit that will be there until the end of the year. It's in conjunction with the Space for Art Foundation. And it was kind of curated by the former astronaut Nicole Stott, who lives in the area, in the region. And I invite everyone to come and see it. It is actually very, very interesting.
Very good.
Well worth. And one of the artifacts that's there is this spacesuit that was actually worn on in the space station. That is completely painted and very colorful and very, very, very cool. So well worth the visit. So encourage everyone to come along and have a look at it.
Thank you. Very good.
I also need to increase the visitation at Mosey because, you know, it is diabolical right now. So.
Mhm.
Okay. Robin, do you have anything?
No, well, there's a lot going on. We're in the throes of getting some, like everybody else, just trying to see what we can make work. We've got a couple of projects that are just starting up and, you know, hopefully some feel-good projects out in the community. It's kind of interesting. We're working on, of course, you have to figure community engagement, as everyone here knows, with social distancing and masks and so on. So just figuring it out like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, anyone else? Good news?
I just wanted to share with the group, it's called Outcast Theater Collective. And so as some of you may be looking for interesting programming that you're able to do virtually, 2 of the founders, Cornelio Aguilera and Clarion Despain, they have started virtual, like an ensemble that focuses on theater of the oppressed. And so through that collective, they engage participants virtually to deconstruct and present sort of like a different power dynamic structure, and then have participants from the audience sort of try out different outcomes to try to help either the person who doesn't have power in that dynamic situation and give suggestions. So sometimes the collective will actually act out those things, and then they let the participants through the Theater of the Oppressed, which is after Augustus Boal, they let them try out different solutions. So that could be something. They held one May 31st. They're getting a lot of exposure through the YMCA, Arizona University, State University. and having more things scheduled in August as well. So through the pandemic, it's certainly something they would normally be much more regionalized, but they are being able to leverage technology, and that may be something that either through Mosey or, as you're trying to get people where they're able to still be safe, at home and have some type of content to provide. So I'll be sure I'll send you, Martine, just what the website is, and that way on the website, folks are able to contact directly either Claire Ann or Cornelio about programming opportunities.
Excellent.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, if there's no other business, I'll remind everyone of the deadline for applying for the Board of Directors, August the 3rd, online. And then our next board meeting is scheduled for August the 25th. We're back on a Tuesday at noon, and I thank you all for adjusting your time and schedule for this month's meeting. With that, the meeting is adjourned at 2:42 p.m. Thank you very much and be safe.
Thanks, Emery.
Thank you, Emery.